a Derbyshire man's tattoo, an unlikely tool in a U.S. deportation controversy. Pete Belton, a 44-year-old resident of Derbyshire, England, found himself embroiled in an unexpected international incident when he discovered a photograph of his forearm tattoo featured in a U.S. Department of Homeland Security (DHS) document. The document, aiming to aid in the identification of alleged members of the notorious Venezuelan criminal gang, Tren de Aragua, TDE, inexplicably included Belton's personal tattoo among 9 other images. This revelation has sparked outrage and raised serious questions about the accuracy and methodology employed by U.S. immigration authorities in their deportation efforts. Belton's story, initially reported by the BBC, highlights a concerning trend: the apparent misuse of readily available images from tattoo websites in the identification of suspected gang members. The BBC's investigation revealed that several tattoos featured in the DHS document, including Belton's, originated on online tattoo platforms, bearing no visible links to TDE or any criminal organizations. This discovery casts significant doubt on the reliability of the DHS's identification process and raises concerns about potential misidentification and wrongful deportations. The same image of Belton's tattoo also appeared in a Texas Department of Public Safety (DPS) report detailing TDE activity, further underscoring the widespread dissemination of this flawed identification method. This raises critical questions about interagency communication and data verification protocols within U.S. law enforcement. The careless inclusion of a seemingly innocuous tattoo belonging to an ordinary British citizen with no known connection to organized crime highlights a critical failure in the vetting process. The implications of such errors are far-reaching and deeply troubling. The Trump administration's deportation practices under scrutiny. The Trump administration's aggressive deportation policies, particularly those targeting alleged TDE members, have come under intense scrutiny in recent years. Hundreds of individuals have been deported, often without due process, to the notorious prison in El Salvador known for its harsh conditions and human rights abuses. These deportations, based largely on the identification of tattoos deemed indicative of TDE membership, are now facing legal challenges. Lawyers representing several deportees argue that their clients were wrongfully identified based on misinterpretations of their tattoos. One case involves a man deported due to a crown tattoo, which he claims was inspired by the Real Madrid Football Club logo, a far cry from any gang affiliation. Another case highlights the deportation of a makeup artist whose crown tattoos, according to his lawyers, were simply references to the Three Kings Epiphany celebrations, a deeply rooted religious tradition. These examples vividly illustrate the potential for cultural misunderstandings and the inherent biases within the tattoo-based identification system employed by the DHS. The lack of rigorous verification and the reliance on superficial visual similarities between tattoos and alleged gang symbols raise serious concerns about the fairness and accuracy of the deportation process. The potential for misidentification, particularly given the prevalence of common tattoo designs and cultural symbolism, is alarmingly high. The use of such a flawed system results in a clear injustice to individuals who have been wrongly labeled as gang members, stripped of their rights, and subjected to harsh treatment in foreign prisons. Beyond the tattoos, a systemic failure of due process. The controversy surrounding Belton's tattoo extends beyond the individual cases of misidentification. It exposes a deeper systemic failure within the U.S. immigration system. The reliance on easily accessible online images, the lack of robust verification procedures, and the absence of adequate due process all contribute to a flawed and potentially abusive deportation process. The seemingly arbitrary nature of the tattoo-based identification, coupled with the expedited deportations without court hearings, raises profound questions about the rule of law and the protection of individual rights. The potential for innocent individuals to be swept up in this flawed system, based on nothing more than a misinterpreted tattoo, is a chilling prospect. The inclusion of Belton's tattoo in official DHS and DPS documents serves as a potent symbol of this systemic failure. It highlights the need for a complete overhaul of the identification process, a commitment to due process, and a thorough investigation into the potential for widespread misidentification and wrongful deportations. The case underscores the urgent necessity for greater transparency and accountability within U.S. immigration enforcement. The consequences of these flawed practices extend far beyond individual hardships, impacting international relations and undermining the principles of justice and human rights. The story of Pete Belton's tattoo should serve as a wake-up call, prompting a critical reassessment of the U.S. deportation system and its reliance on unreliable identification methods. The fight for justice and the protection of individual rights in the face of such systemic failures is far from over.